Welcome to the MCOSME advising session of the Mustangs Roundup. We're really excited you're here, and we hope you get some good information from our presentation to help you your first semester. We have some housekeeping kinds of things to share with you. We are going to mute everyone as they come into the session, but you still will be able to ask questions. Just make sure you put them in the chat. We have a chat monitor, and they will share that with us at the end, and we'll try and answer your questions the best we can. This particular session is going to be about establishing some good habits and some successful types of things to help you be successful your first semester. At the MCOSME, the McCoy College of Science, Math, and Engineering, we want to stimulate STEM leadership. We want to encourage diverse scholarship, and we will show you some of those ways that we do that here at MSU. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Deidre Frazier. I'm the Mechanical Engineering and Physics Advisor here at MSU. My contact information is on the bottom. We will have some additional ways to connect with you, and as soon as we have those kind of finalized, we'll let you know. Lauren?
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Bedmar. I'm the advisor for all the other majors in the college. So you'll see on the screen biology, chemistry, computer science, but I also advise for the geosciences, mathematics, and any pre-professional degrees. So anything that's not pre-engineering, so pre-med, pre-dent, pre-pharmacy, pre-physical therapy, anything in that realm, I'm going to be your contact of who you go to. And like Deidre's, my contact information is on the screen as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. We've just got some like quick tips for success and things to get you ready for your first year and first semester at MSU. So the first thing that we'll touch on is time management and your self-discipline. So most of you have probably heard since like your junior year in high school, people have drilled into your brain, college is going to be different than high school. They're going to have different expectations of you. There's different just ways that your classes are going to work. But you haven't been here, so you would have no way of knowing what that looks like. But one of the biggest things that we see with our students when they're starting with us is their study hours. So when you're calculating your study hours, there's going to be a formula or equation that you'll probably hear batted about, and it's going to be delegating about 2 hours of study time outside of class per credit hour that you're enrolled in for the semester. So most of you beginning freshmen are looking at 14 to 16 credit hours for your first semester schedule. So you're going to want to look at having about 28 to 32 hours of study outside of your classes. So that sounds like a really, really daunting number. You may not have had to do anything like that in high school. It's really easy to just go to your classes, do your assigned homework, go home, rinse and repeat. You may not have to study quite as much, or at least not like tens of hours throughout the week. So the best way to kind of keep track of that is to create a planner for yourself. So you'll see on the screen, strategy 2 talks about creating and following a planner. So you'll want to fill that with things like your class schedule, write in the times that you're going to set aside for studying throughout the week, any important tests, finals, or due dates that come up from your classes. And the best way to usually get those is to look at your syllabus. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the syllabuses for your classes. So when you get a syllabus, you'll have one for every class that you're in. And I like to think of these as like a contract between you and your professor. So it's got a lot of good information for you on it. Pretty much any question that you will have is probably answered for you on your syllabus. So it's important that you read it from beginning to end, read it for every class, but it'll have important things like how to contact your professors, what assignments are due and when, and then things like, you know, how many absences am I allowed from this class? What do I have to do if I'm going to not be there? Or what happens if I have too many? And I am a graduate student right now, so I have syllabi for all of my classes. And the best thing, or the first thing that I like to do is go through and look at all the dates. And I mark those down in my calendar. And then I also look for if I have any conflicts. So some of you may have family events or something that comes up, such as like a wedding or some other event that's already been planned. And if that requires you to miss any like weekdays where you have classes, you'll want to scan and see if any of that collides. And if it does, bring it up to your professor right away. Either talk to them after class or use the contact information that's on that syllabus tool. But it's a lot easier to work with those conflicts if you bring it to your professors early rather than waiting until either the week of the event or right before it happens. So now that you have some background on this, I'll pop it back to Deidre and we'll talk about some successful habits.
Okay, so successful classroom habits. We want to make sure you're starting off on the right foot. So some of the things here are pretty self-explanatory, but I think this is going to be something that'll be helpful. So being prepared, what does that mean? It actually means like going, being ready for class, having your papers and the pencils and anything you need to be able to be, to listen in the classroom and be prepared to take notes. It means getting enough sleep the night before so that you're not nodding off in class. But it also means making sure that you're reading the material ahead of time, that you're thinking about some questions that you want to bring up in class, and that you're doing your homework and turning all of that in on time. These things are going to help you to be present in the classroom. So as you get into the class, funny thing is, go to class. That's something that is really funny for us in a way, because when students are having trouble and they come in to see us, many times we ask them, did you go to class? And they say that, yeah, I didn't go to class so much. Especially in math, science, and engineering, this is really, really critical to do. You need to go to class because you may have a concept that is very, very important for the test or in learning for your particular discipline that you may miss if you don't go to class. So this is something that's really, really important. But it's also important that when you get to class, that you are able to focus on what's being taught in class. If you've prepared ahead of time, then you will know kind of what the content's going to be when you get into the class. So it will help you to focus a little bit more on what is being told, and you can ask those questions and be more active in the classroom. It also means being mentally present in the classroom. So silencing your phones, making sure that you're not doing your homework for another class in the class, or responding to emails or social media and those kinds of things. Not only is it distracting to you, but it's also distracting to your instructor and the other people around you. So that's something that's really important to do. You may think that the instructor's not really paying attention, but they are. So if you want to have a positive impression, make a positive impression, then you definitely want to be prepared when you're going into class and really focus on the class. The opposite is true. The instructor is also going to notice if you're not doing those things. This, in terms of being proactive, this also leads into that because teachers really want to talk to you. So it's important for you to take that initiative to go and talk to them. MSU is a wonderful institution in that we have smaller classrooms and our teachers really want to connect to you. So if you're able to go and talk to them, ask questions, things like that, they notice those things. It helps you to get a better handle on your classes. And in the end, it really, really is a benefit to you. Also, make sure you don't wait till the last minute to get help. So if you're in a study group, if you are getting tutoring, don't wait to do those things. A lot of times people wait until it's way too late to do anything. And when you come and talk to us, we have very little we can help you with. So if you are struggling, come and talk to us and we may have some additional things that we can help you with in terms of getting you back on track. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before we go to the next slide is don't sell yourself short. So don't take shortcuts. Plagiarizing or taking people's homework and copying it or cheating on a test, all that does is really hurt you in the end. It is really important because we're in science, math, and engineering. We need to be prepared for getting out in the work world. So if you do those things, you're not going to be prepared. You're not going to understand some of those key concepts that you really need to know. So make sure that you are in the classroom. It's your education. Make sure that you do the right thing and really get the most out of your classroom. Okay.
Yeah, so another going off of being proactive and taking advantage of things that can help you academically in the classroom. One of the first pieces of advice that I give to my students when I see them is usually get to know the people who are in classes with you. So as a student in like the College of Science, Math, and Engineering, you're going to be working in some pretty intense majors, and you're going to have difficult classes ahead of you. And it's really easy to think of that and see it as something to be afraid of, but it's really nice to embrace it. Just be excited to go to your classes, excited to get to know the people around you. These are people who share probably a lot of the same passions that you do in terms of future career goals, things that they want to do after graduation, maybe pursuing the same graduate studies or something similar to what you're wanting to do. So it's really important to get to know these people. You want to surround yourself with them, find the people who are showing up to class like you are, who are asking important questions, those who just seem to be as equally engaged in class as you are. These relationships, they take time to build. You know, you're not going to show up to your first class on your first day and then automatically be friends with everybody in the room. But as you go through your academic career here at MSU, usually by the time you reach graduation, you have a really nice set of core friends and groups that you've used to study with and bond with and just go through these classes with. And it's just much more satisfying to stand in that graduation line with a group of friends rather than just classmates that you've gone through your courses with. And you get a lot more out of your classes when you work as a team rather than just working alone. You can still study alone. If you need some time to just work on concepts on your own, that's just fine. But definitely try to take advantage of working with the people who are around you as well. Another way to do this is through the tutoring center. So that's part of what I would do when I was a student. Like we said, you're spending hours outside of the classroom studying, but part of that can be used in the tutoring center. So if you are going to one of your math classes, or if you're going to like biology or chemistry, and you're just hitting a concept that you're just a little unsure of, or you're not as confident in, sometimes it's nice to go to the tutoring center, which is really convenient for you all, right across the street from Bolin. It's moved to our library, so it's right there for you. You can go and sit and work on some homework, and then there's tutors there immediately if you have a question, rather than going back to your dorm or studying on your own. You think of a question and then you might forget it by the time that you either get back to class or you get to somebody who could help you. So you can get that immediate feedback. So that's just another way to get involved outside of the classroom. And that kind of leads us to our next slide, where we're talking about getting involved in ways other than just academics at the school. So like for our students in the McCoy College of Science, Math, and Engineering, we really have an expectation for you and a commitment to kind of helping you gain formal and informal ways of gaining experience while you're on campus. And the best way to do this is by getting involved. So you'll see on the screen, there's different like experiences that you can gain, some formal, some informal. So formal would be things like internships, co-ops, research. Informal might be some clubs and organizations. So if you have like the pre-professional club that's in our college here. That's an informal way to get involved and gain some experience. But we also have some professional things like the American Chemical Society, so ACS, things that are directly tied to your major. And then there's just fun activities that you can do on campus that you're learning things like teamwork, and you're just having fun while you're experiencing those along the way. But Deidre's going to talk to you a little bit more about some of our other opportunities on campus as well.
Now, one of the wonderful things about MSU that is not in other institutions is that we have the ability to have undergraduates do research. Most places are so big that they only have graduate students able to do that, but we are doing some absolutely amazing things in research and projects, and I'm really amazed at some of the things that the students are doing. We have some great instructors who are doing research, and if you talk to your instructors, that's another way to find out what they're interested in, what they're involved in. So you might be able to do some of those things as well. We have two different programs that are a little bit more formal. We have Eureka, which is an academic year type of internship process where you're connected with a professor. We also have UGRO, which is a summer version of that as well. So it gives you an opportunity to do speaking and practice, sharing what your work is, being able to do new things, robotics or things in biology. There's so many things that you can get involved in terms of research. It's really exciting. The other thing is there are, activities this time. There are going to be a lot of activities that are going to be available to you. Homecoming is going to be in the spring, but as you see in the picture there, there's a cardboard boat race. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in the spring, and MCOSME better represent, because we're, that's our thing. We're going to do well. No other college is going to beat us. So we're excited about that. There will be a calendar of events that's going to be online as well as in the information desk. So intramurals, things like that that you're really excited about or fun. There's going to be something on campus that you'll be able to do. Okay, so all of these things support our mission at the MCOSME College of Science, Math, and Engineering, we're going to have Lauren talk about other things that you need to be aware of for yourself.
Yeah, so we've been coming at you with things to do and information about how much study time you have outside of class, going to your classes, going to labs, basically all that you've heard from about probably April or May of this year until now is just a bunch of housekeeping things. Big long to-do lists, things that you need to take care of. This is still not done, this is still not done. And it can get overwhelming, and the school year can seem to function that way as well. You'll go to your classes and you'll get your assignments, you'll have tests that are coming up, you'll have club meetings that you want to go to, and when your schedule is looking really full, it can be quite overwhelming at times. So it's really important to know when to take a step back, when you can, where you can, and just take some time to take care of yourself. So this is going to look different for everybody. Some people recharge by going out with your friends, maybe walking over to the mall, doing some things that you can just take a step back and relax. But it might also just be going back to your dorm and reading, or just taking some time for yourself and just having some quiet space. So you want to utilize like your preferred methods of relaxing, but it's also important to realize we have resources on campus as well. So obviously, hopefully you'll be making friends here in your first semester, and you'll be given the chance to kind of spend some time outside of class with people you've gotten to know. Going to clubs and organizational meetings is a nice way to get some experience, but also take a break for yourself. There are some that may not be related to your major, like we have a club that centers around students who love to play video games. That can be a great way to get to know some people, but also take a step back and relax. If you like to be active, we have our wellness center, we have intramural teams. If you like to go play just games of like pick up basketball, or if you just like to go work out by yourself, those are some great ways to, relax and recharge and take care of yourself. And then just don't forget, it's normal and it's okay if things seem overwhelming and you get stressed, and you might need some help from our counseling center. They have plenty of workshops that they host throughout the year, and they're related to all kinds of things, from academic sessions such as like learning good study habits for yourself to things about stress management. And Deidre and I, we're going to be here for you. I've been saying we're practicing social distancing this year, but please don't take that to mean that we're distancing ourselves from you. We are here for you when you need us, where you need us. So if you do need something, please don't hesitate to reach out to us when you can. It's just very important to be able to keep that healthy balance with yourself between your work, your school, and your social life.
Okay, so as we wrap up, we want to kind of talk about a couple of things that will happen pretty early on in terms of the semester. In the first week of class, the first couple of days, you can actually add and drop classes yourself. It's something that if you decide to take a different section, or if something opens up and you would like to add yourself into a class, you can do those things yourself. But later on in the week, like Wednesday onward, you'll need to come to us, and then we'll help you with that process in terms of adding and dropping. If that's something that you should do, not do, we'll give you some advice about that. It's also important to know that once you get past that 12th day of classes, your drop deadline has stopped. And so if you're needing to drop a class after that period of time, you can do what we call a withdrawal from the class. Now, what that means is it gives you a grade of W, which means that it's a grade, but it does not affect your GPA. It is important, though, before you start doing something like that, that you talk to your advisor. So, because there's sometimes some ramifications in terms of financial aid or scholarships or international things like that. So you want to come and talk to us before you do something like that. But the main thing we want to talk about, it may seem like it's too early to talk about this, but spring advising will start like late October. As soon as schedules are out for spring, that's when advising happens, and it's really important for you to take advantage of that early. Because science, math, and engineering courses go very quickly, if you want the time you want, the teachers you want, you know, those kinds, or even getting the class, you need to make sure that you're proactive, that you come in a moment that advising starts, and then as soon as you're able to register, you get into those classes. You don't want to wait. Some of you may have been having that kind of thing this last, getting ready for fall, where you weren't able to get the schedule that you might have wanted. So this is a way to really get off on the right track. Okay, so before you come into advising, we do want you to do a couple of things. We want you to look at your degree plan, kind of get a sense of what might be happening in the next semester, and then have some questions ready for us. So when you come in, you know, we can start that discussion right off the bat and get you all taken care of really early. Okay, so we're really glad that you came. We're going to be open now for some questions that you have in the chat, and here we go.